Mavis works at the quarry at the end of Thomas's branch line. She dutifully spends her days shunting trucks into the proper places to be loaded with stone, and then takes it down to Farquhar for Percy to take to Brendam Docks and other places. Mavis enjoys her work, but sometimes she grows bored of the same routine day in and day out. One day, Mavis glumly took some stone trucks to Farquhar Yards. When Percy arrived, he could see the diesel looked despondent.
Hello, Mavis. What's the matter?
Mavis sighed.
Every day I shunt trucks at the quarry, and the only time I can leave the quarry is when I need to bring the trucks down here.
She said sadly.
I've never seen what the line is like beyond Farquhar. I wish I could do something different for a change.
You never know,
said Percy cheerfully.
Perhaps the Fat Controller might need your help down the line one day.
And with a cheerful whistle, Percy steamed away. As he was puffing along, he suddenly had an idea. When they reached the docks, he told his driver, "That's a splendid idea, Percy. I'll speak to the Fat Controller about it right away. I'm sure he will agree." And indeed, he did. The next morning, Mavis was idling in her shed when she saw the quarry manager walking towards her with the Fat Controller. "Good morning, Mavis," greeted the Fat Controller.
Good morning, sir,
replied Mavis.
What brings you to the quarry this morning?
Percy's been called away to take care of some shunting on the main line. I've spoken to your manager, and he's given his permission for you to take over Percy's duties on the branch line until he returns.
Mavis was delighted.
Yes, sir, thank you, sir!
She bubbled excitedly.
But what about my work here at the quarry?
I'm sure I can manage here on my own,
smiled Toby.
You run along now, Mavis. Orders are orders.
And so, Mavis rattled out of the quarry. When she reached the yard, Thomas was there taking on water. "Good morning, Mavis. I'm glad you've come to help us."
It's a pleasure, Thomas. Where do I start?
Mavis set to work immediately. She handled her tasks with ease. She knew how to keep the trucks in line when they started to complain. Later, Mavis was shunting at Elsbridge. She was arranging trucks which were to be added to James's slow goods train. She watched as the passengers boarded Annie and Clarabelle. "Working here must be a nice change from the quarry," commented James.
It is indeed. But I was just wondering what it would be like to take a passenger train,
replied Mavis. James burst into laughter. "Ha ha! You! Pulling passengers! You are a diesel shunter! designed to shunt on all trucks, not coaches. You best stick to what you were designed for, Mavis. Mavis glared at the vain red engine. Oh well, must go. A real useful engine such as myself has work to do. And James puffed away, laughing. A diesel shunter taking coaches. What a joke.
One day I'll show him.
That night in the shed, she told Thomas and Toby about what James had said.
Who does that vain red engine think he is? I'm just as capable of pulling coaches as he is.
It's best to ignore him when he gets like that, counselled Thomas. He sometimes says I'm not worthy of having my own branch line, but I just let it slide right through my funnel. Don't let him get to you. The next day, Mavis was working at Farquhar Yards. She was still on the foul move and took it out on the trucks.
Ow! 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 No need to treat us that roughly!
Mavis watched as Thomas steamed into the station with his afternoon passenger service. Thomas ran round the coaches for the return journey to Elsbridge. But as the driver reached for the regulator, steam burst from Thomas's safety valve. Oh no, we've burst the safety valve! Exclaimed the driver. There are no buses around. Who'll take these passengers home? Thomas glanced over to the yards. What about Mavis? She could take the passengers. A splendid idea, Thomas, grinned the station master, and he ran over to speak to Mavis and her driver. We need you to take the passengers to Elsbridge. They must meet their connection to the main line.
It would be an honor,
Beamed Mavis. Thomas was uncoupled from the coaches, and Mavis shunted him into a siding. Then she backed down onto Annie and Clarabelle.
Come on!
Called Mavis cheerfully.
Let's go!
The guard blew his whistle, climbed into Clarabelle, and Mavis purred out of the station. James was waiting impatiently at the junction. Where's that Thomas? He hissed. If he spent less time dawdling and more time keeping his mind on the job, he'd... James was interrupted by the sound of a diesel horn. He gaped in astonishment as he saw Mavis pulling Annie and Clarabelle into the station. Mavis! You...
Yes, James. I can indeed take passenger trains.
And a splendid job you did too,
said the fat controller who had been travelling on the train.
In the last 2 days, I have been very impressed with the effort you've put into your work. You are indeed a really useful engine.
Thank you, sir.
Mavis said, blushing. The fat controller turned to James.
I've heard about what you said to Mavis. And let me tell you now, James, an engine, no matter what specific task they are built for, can haul trucks or coaches. Mavis may be a diesel shunter, but she has proven herself useful in pulling not only trucks, but coaches too.
James went a bright shade of red.